we were going to get married. So we got baptized on May 19th, 2018, and we got, married a year later. And yeah, y'all, that's how I went from being pregnant at 16 to being 24 with the ring.
Yes. It's a video.
What's up, YouTube? This is your girl, Hebrew Beauty, and if you read the caption already, you know that we are getting into some tea, honey. Very good tea. Y'all, there's nothing in the cup. It's nothing in there. It's nothing there because I got all the tea. Okay? So let's just get straight into it. How did I go from being pregnant at 16 to getting the ring, honey? How did I go from being a fast 16-year-old to being a married woman at 24? Let's get into it. First of all, I wasn't that fast at 16, you can say, but I wasn't that cautious. I was that 16-year-old that just wanted to hang out with some friends, and I wanted to, be with girlfriends, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, my mom, she did have 6 kids, and now, being older, I understand that having a babysitter is just a no-go when you have older children. Like, I'm not paying $300 for a babysitter once Josiah gets 16. No, you're going to have to watch your brothers and sisters. That's what being a village is all about. But at 16, I didn't want to hear none of that. I needed to go to the mall with my friends. I needed to go up and down the street. I needed to hang out. Like, I didn't have a cell phone at the time. It wasn't going to do it for me. It wasn't giving 16 vibes. Everybody was having their sweet 16, you know what I mean? So I am very resilient. I am very determined. So if I wasn't able to go outside, that was a problem for me. Once I get off the bus, I'll go in the house, make sure the kids were good, feed them some food. And my mom will already be, on the way to work or at work. So what I would do is make sure the kids is good, and then I'll just go over my friend's house, you know what I mean? I'll be over there until about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then my mom, she'll be home by 8:30. So it worked out. I have 4 siblings, and they're around the same age, so they used to have fun in that house. I already know they used to run up and down the stairs, play hide and seek. It was 4 of them, so they made it fun. So I really didn't have to watch them that much. But it was this one particular day that I was taking my sister home, and on the way back from home, I met this guy, and he just seemed like, a fun, outgoing guy. So we couldn't exchange numbers because we didn't have a phone, because I didn't have a phone at the time. So I used to, instead of, going over my friend's house, I used to use his house, to be outside hanging out. So I went over his house, we hung out. This is my first time being, absolutely physically close to a guy. And, he was, 19 or 18 at the time. So he knew a lot more than me. And, again, I was 16. I was vulnerable. And I just wanted to be outside. Like, so push come to shove. I ended up spending a lot more time with him. And we began to get a little more closer. You already know how it is. An 18-year-old, he and a 16-year-old, only thing on their mind is doing, grown-up stuff. So my crazy self, I didn't think that I can get pregnant. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's the last thing that I can do. Like, me pregnant. So, and I wasn't even, taking precaution. I wasn't using condoms, you know what I mean? And I know that's very bad. But I wasn't just in the headspace. I was just going with the flow. And to, go back, and now that I go back and think about it, I just wanted attention. So that kind of, did it for me. Hanging out with the guy that showed me a lot of attention, that is, that did it for me. That filled that void of, hanging out with friends at a mall. So eventually I got pregnant. And once I got pregnant, I still didn't realize it because I wasn't that girly girl type of girl. Or I was still, like, I had a child mind. I didn't track my periods or anything, and so I didn't even notice, the changes in my body. I used to sleep through the whole math class. When I tell you, I will wake up like 30 minutes before the bell ring. It got to a point where my teacher, she asked me, was I on drugs? Now that I think about it, that was very inappropriate of her. She could have had a side conversation with me, but she decided to, ask me in front of the whole class, like, ma'am, are you on drugs? And I'm like, I didn't smoke, drink, none of that. So that was very inappropriate. I could have took that as a sign that I could be pregnant. But again, like I said, I didn't pay attention, to my body, or the changes that were happening in my body. But about a few months later, my friend, she asked me, she said, do you think you're pregnant? Because there's no way you gotta keep using the bathroom. And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't had my period in a long time. And then she's like, you haven't had your period in a long time. And I'm like, yeah, like I don't take track of my period. I was probably happy. I didn't notice it. It just wasn't registering, that I could be pregnant. Like, I was the last person you would think that would have gotten pregnant. But one day my mom, she came home and, she gave me a pregnancy test and she told me to go in her bathroom and take it. And I did. And when I came out, I showed her the pregnancy test. It had 2 lines on it. And she just looked at me and I don't remember. I really don't remember. I think she just took it and walked away. Like, I thought I would be getting slapped, hit, at least yelled at, but she just took it and walked away. So they did the sonogram and it came back. Then I was 5 months pregnant. And again, I just didn't have any feelings towards it. I didn't know what to do. So she asked for, my child's father, mom's number, so my child's grandmother's number. And she basically told her, what was going on, and she told her that we need to prepare for a baby to come. So throughout that relationship, it was rocky. Being 16, I knew how to take care of children because I had 5 other siblings, 4 younger siblings. But I didn't expect to do this by myself. So when the baby came home, the first day the baby came home, this man, my son's father, literally was at his house while I was at my house, and I had a whole C-section. And it was like the disconnect, it started immediately. Like, he wanted to go to go-go's, he wanted to be at places when I had to stay at home with the kid. So that 16 and pregnant reality really hit hard for me. Like, now I'm definitely not able to go outside. I'm definitely not able to hang out with friends. And my mom, she just dropped it in my lap. She like, I am going to be hands off. You don't have to do what you got to do, to take care of this child. And that's it. She was already struggling to to get a babysitter. and then I bring in another child. That was very unfair for her. As an adult, I'm thinking about it like, yeah, I would be mad too. I would be very upset at me or at my daughter, for dropping that responsibility on me. You know what I mean? Fast forward maybe a couple months later, I decided to go back to school. I was in 10th grade when I had the baby. I decided to go back to school for 11th grade, and I got straight A's and like 1B. And I was doing very good because at this point I had a reason. I had, a why, So I'm doing good. I'm, passing all my classes. The baby, I got vouchers to go to daycare. So I got him some vouchers. I used to drop him off in the morning, go up the hill with my stroller, drop him off in the morning, come back down the hill, and, get on the bus for school. One day I went to school and they told me to come to the office. They hand me this envelope, say give it to your parents. And I ended up opening up the envelope, and it read that my attendance was very low and I can possibly, be put out of school. And I didn't understand that because they obviously knew that I was pregnant. We used to go on field trips. They had a program for pregnant teens. So I participated that in school. So I didn't understand why they gave me that letter. I was already fed up because I'm like, look, I'm trying my best. Like, I already had a child young. I'm dealing with it on my own. I had a C-section. I have little to no support, and then y'all drop this on my lap. Like, really? Like, I actually had support. I had my child's godmother. She used to come and get him on the weekends and stuff. But I was talking about during school. I have good grades. Why are you guys worried about my attendance? I had to stay in the hospital for 7 days. If that was the case, y'all could have, reached out to me, and we could have went about this another way. But I just let that get the best of me. So I said, you know what? I'm not coming back to school. I'm not. And I didn't. What I did was I left and I decided to enroll in this GED program in 11th grade. I was able to complete that program and graduate with a high school diploma in 2012 instead of 2013. So your girl is out here achieving things already. She's already an early graduate with a high school diploma and not a GED. When I tell y'all the Lord has been looking out for me since I was yay high, the Lord has looked out for your girl ever since. I was in that program. It taught me, to tell my story, but tell it with some confidence. Tell it to be a motivation. Tell my story and motivate someone else to do, what I have done. That's what that program has taught me. And I think it's called MMYC or LAYC. It's a youth program, helping, underprivileged teens. But I really want to, thank everyone in that program because you guys have changed my life. So fast forward, once I graduated that program, I went to college. Actually, Everest College, they came to my GED program and they offered, college courses. They said that it will only take a year, the whole Everest spiel.
You're watching TV and your life is passing you by. You keep procrastinating over and over. Well, maybe I'll go to school next year, or maybe next semester. No, do it right now. They'll work with you after work, or you can go before work. You can do whatever you need to do.
So I did it. And yeah, I graduated that in 2014. I started in 2013, and I graduated that in 2014 with, my medical assistant diploma. So from then I started to work at Holy Cross Hospital, and I was doing it. Like, by the time I was 18 and 19, I was out here, killing it. I was out here taking care of my business, you know what I mean? And my relationship with the child's father, it kept going. It was on and off because he was very, physically abusive, and I had to just, go through life, and I had to develop I had to, realize my worth for myself. I can't blame, no one else for their actions. I can't blame him, because he decided to put his hands on me. I can only blame myself that I decided to stay with someone that, has a problem. Obviously, the problem wasn't in me, it was in himself. And, to say the least, he did come over here from Hurricane Katrina. He did have his own problems, and I have to, give grace and forgive people, for that, and not have it, be a part of my story, to where it's holding me down for life. So, fast forward, I'll begin to work at Fridays. Y'all, that's my favorite job. I love serving. I love the atmosphere of Fridays. I don't know. But fast forward, I was working at Fridays, and I had my own apartment, living with my son's father. And life was good. Life was good. And then the Lord shut it all down. He was like, look, so what you doing is good, but I don't think that you seeing my hand in all of this. So I need you to, I just need to cut it. So what the Lord decided to do was to snatch it all away. He just snatched it. He snatched my job. He snatched my child's father. I think he went to jail like every single year of his existence in my life. Every single year he was going to jail. So he snatched that because I think I was trying to be dependent on him. And he snatched my place away. So me and my son became homeless. We were living from, family to family, house to house, couch to couch. And it wasn't ideal. You know what I mean? I was still out here running these streets, hanging out with, my cousins and my child when he went to Alabama for the summer. I used to just be out here not worrying about life, just hanging out. And the Lord decided, no, you're not. So you're not going to do that. So once my son got back, I landed 2 jobs. I worked at a McDonald's and I worked at a Food Lion for a couple of months. And when my son's father got out of jail, I invited him over to my mom's house. And, that day he came over. He wasn't supposed to be in my mom's house. But I didn't want my brothers and sisters to see, so I told him to come in my room. When he came in my room, he decided, to hold me down and do grown-up stuff. And to this day, I accept the consequence that came with not, obeying your parents, because that is a part of the commandments, we have to obey our parents. So, and I also think that was a key, detail that had to happen. My daughter is here because of it, and I praise God, for her being here. So I look at that as, joy in my story. I look at that as a turning point. But after that happened, I decided to move back with him and his mom, because I couldn't be pregnant in my mom's house at 19 years old with a 3-year-old, you know what I mean? So I just decided to move back with his mom. And one day she came in there and she said, you can't lay on my couch pregnant. You gotta go. You gotta, go to a shelter. You gotta do something. You can't do this whatever you do, don't do this. Don't lay here every single day. I know you're pregnant, but you have to do something. So I, told him that I was going to a shelter. I told him if he can go or he can stay, but I'm leaving. I'm going to a shelter. So we decided to go together and go to DC General. Mind you, he was very abusive. So so they decided to put us in a hotel. In that hotel, he was very physically abusive while I was pregnant, and the only thing I prayed for was to get away. So the Lord decided to put us in a real shelter where they had employees working there. They had officers on each floor. They had food that we can eat. Had a cafeteria, playground. The Lord put me in the right moment at the right time. And by the time my daughter was born, he allowed me to leave that place and get an apartment of my own in DC. So I was 20 years old at that time, 2 kids, and I promised myself another turning point in my life was me promising myself that having a daughter, I will never allow her to see that abuse, because as a child I saw it happen to my mom, and I'm not going to say that's why I thought it was okay, but that wasn't something that I wanted my daughter to see. So I promised him, I said, look, I promise you this will be the last time. If you ever decide to do that again, that will be the last time that you do that to me, because I have a daughter now. So a couple months later, he decided to put his hands on me, and we had a big fight. And guess what? That was the last time. I was 20 years old, and I finally realized my worth, not only because I was worthy, but because my daughter was worthy of having a healthy relationship with any man. Whether you're her father, her brother, her cousin, she will have a healthy relationship with any man she comes, around, because it's imperative that we teach our children that abuse in any form is not good and is unacceptable. So yes, I was 20 years old. I was working at IHOP at the time, and I was doing it. I had my apartment, I had my kids, my Grammy. Look at the kids. Look at the kids. They're so beautiful. Look at the house. It's so beautiful. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Look at the car. It's so beautiful out there, y'all. I was, doing my thing. Had a car and everything. I was doing my thing. Then there was another big turning point where I was, it was a racist lady that worked at IHOP, and I think she was the manager. And I decided that I'm not going to work there no more. I never was scared to quit a job. That's one thing. If I need to quit, I will quit. I would quit, fast too. So that's what I did. I left that job with the promise of, getting another job at, a cemetery with my aunt. My aunt was the manager of, Washington National Cemetery. So she allowed me to work with her, where we were, it was basically like an insurance company where you tell people, to get their lives together. Like, y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all this right now. I wish I would have, learned how to explain it when I was working there. But life is short. Once that person is gone, they have no say so. They can't help you with their decisions for their burial. So if you do it now for your family, you will show them more love than you ever did. If you go ahead and, you know, just plan out where you want to be at. And I know it sounds crazy to plan out your funeral and stuff like that, but even if the smallest things, like, you know, I want to be at this cemetery, my burial site is this is already paid for, so when I pass away, I will give you comfort in knowing that you don't have to make these hard decisions when you're already grieving me. So basically, that's what I was doing. I was trying to tell you, know, I was 20 years old, so they would look at me like, girl, you young as some mud. How you telling me? You telling me about death and you're 20, you a baby. So, you know, I made a lot of money there. But then that's when I met this guy. His name was Dominic. And it was crazy how we met, because I would, you know, message him every birthday that he had, because we had the same birthday. And I always thought he was cute. You know what I mean? And so I would just be like, happy birthday, birthday twin. And he would say, happy birthday, birthday twin. But this time I said happy birthday to him. I think we talked a little bit more. And we just decided to continue talking. So that's what we did. And it was, at that time, I think I was talking to another guy, you know, a long time friend. And I had a decision to make. This other guy, he was inconsistent. He was always there for me, but, you know, we will be on and off. He wasn't fully committed to being, you know, in a relationship. He still had feelings for, you know, someone else at the time. So it was a decision that I had to make between him, the person that I knew for a long time, but he was just like iffy, or, you know, this new guy that I met. You know, I'm not really, you know, into him, but yeah, I think I could do this, because he's so polite, he's so kind. He had it, like, he had something. But while I was at the cemetery, I call her an angel to this day. This lady walked in, and she said, I'm looking for, you know, this guy. She gave me his name, because people would come and try to look for their, you know, deceased family members, and they'll go visit him. But she couldn't find him, so she came in and asked me, can I help her find him? You know, so we're walking through the cemetery trying to find this guy, and I asked her, who is it? And she said, well, you know, this is my best friend's boyfriend. He used to, you know, beat on her. And the Lord told me to come and visit him. I don't know why. Hallelujah. Y'all, I'm just getting a revelation right now, so please give me a couple minutes. But the Lord told her to come visit him, and so we finally found him. She put on some gospel music, and y'all know I love gospel music, so that connected us. So we finally saw him, and he was, you know, buried by this tree. We sat down with the tree and started talking about life. We talked about how, you know, her best friend finally was able to get away from that man after he passed away or whatever, and she don't know why the Lord told her to come, but here she is. And then I started telling her, you know, my story of, you know, how I was abused by my child's father, and I actually, you know, we talked for hours. And then I brought up the subject on, you know, I'm actually talking to this one guy. His name is Dominic. And I told her about the other guy, you know, that was inconsistent. And she said no. She's like very boldly, non-hesitant. No, go with Dominic. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. As soon as she said that, the inconsistent guy pulled up. This man didn't have a car at all. I don't know where he get the car from, but I was like, is that your ride or something? She was like, no, that's not my ride. I'm not meeting nobody here. I walk up to the car, it's him. So, you know, with her, a stranger telling me to choose Dominic, you know, instead of the guy, that gave me a little balls, you know, to go up to the car like, nah, we ain't doing this. We're not doing this, because I already had that discussion with the Lord, one, with the angel girl, and I got enough confidence, you know, I know my worth. So no, we don't have to do this. You know, he fought it for a while and had his feelings going, but you know, I was strong in what I said, and I meant what I said, and ultimately I went with Dominic. When I turned 22, me and Dominic, we decided to you know, get a little closer. We've been talking. You know, he eventually moved in with me, and no, not even 22. Yeah, I was 21. He decided, you know, to move in with me and help me, you know, take care of my children. And my daughter, I think she was like 18 months at the time. My son was 4 or 3. No, they were 2 and 4, or 1.5 and 4. And so he just stayed with us. He protected us, and he is an angel. He's an angel, and I just want to thank God for him. You know what I mean? I love him. I didn't know that, you know, we would, you know, get that far, but we did. So we call it the apartment days. We used to go downtown for walks. We used to do a lot of stuff, you know, with the kids and developing that relationship. So that was a really, you know, big part of the beginning for us. And from that day, or from those days on, you know, I knew that even if I didn't marry or get married to this man, I knew that this right here is gonna last. This right here is gonna be the one. You know what I mean? He was just gonna be the one because he was genuine. He is kind. He is considerate. He used to cook for us. He used to. It is, and he still does it today. So I don't want to say used to. Like, he just cooked a whole chicken and steak dinner. Like, I just love him so much, and he loves us. So when I say us, I mean all of us. Like, he never stops loving us, and I just really appreciate that. But fast forward, we move into this townhouse because, you know, where we were staying was really unsafe. It was a lot of gunshots, and it was it was too much going on in Washington, D.C., where we were living. So we moved to this townhouse. The townhouse brought on, you know, a lot more responsibility. So our relationship, you know, started to be way more serious. We had to actually, you know, pay a lot more bills. We had 2 growing kids that we had to, you know, provide for. You know, my child's father, he was out of the picture completely. He'll pop in here and there, but he was really out of the picture. In DC, there was a turning point where we found the Lord together. And I remember the night, it was on the balcony, and we came in the house, and I started to read the Bible. And in reading the Bible, something came in my head and said, "You're an Israelite." Look, I never heard of Israelite before. I didn't know where it was coming from. So that night I went to, you know, my bed, and I looked up Israelite, and I saw these people yelling at white people. I saw, it was like this, they were in purple, they looked like Power Rangers. It was the whole 9 yards, y'all. And I started to listen to them, and I'm like, well, if this is what the Bible is saying, you know, this is true. Like, even though they were very rude, I fell, you know, victim to the hateful Israelite camps. And I was like that for a whole 2 weeks. I mean, when I tell you I did not like white people at all, I did not like the commercials that came out with them. That's how bad it was. But then I asked the Lord, to show me the truth, because I was still in Sunday church, and then I would go back to, Sabbath day service. I was back and forth. So I, fasted and prayed and asked the Lord to show me the truth. So he showed me that Sunday worship is not, the right day. It says in the Bible that you shall rest on the Sabbath day, which is the seventh day of the week. And that's what I decided to go with. From there, we found the truth. We kept moving on in our lives. And once you're in the truth, you want to follow, the Bible as it says to follow it. And one being that you cannot have sex before marriage, or before you get married. So that was a big thing that we were working towards. Once we moved to our new house, to our townhome, we decided to get baptized together. And once we got baptized together, we decided that we're going to do this thing. We're going to get married so we can do it the right way. We don't want to continue in our sin, but preach the Lord at the same time. That's called being a hypocrite. So we decided that we was going to get baptized, and then a year later we were going to get married. So we got baptized on May 19th, 2018. Then we got married a year later. And yeah, y'all, that's how I went from being pregnant at 16 to being 24 with the ring.
Yes. It's a video.
I'm gonna run.
Yeah. Hurry up, I change his mind. She.
That's how the story went, y'all. It wasn't a big thing. It was just, following the law, statutes, and commandments. If the Lord said we couldn't be together, or we couldn't, bump and grind before we get married, look, it's better to marry than to burn. One thing I didn't say is that he did get on his one knee. I was in the shower one day, and he came in the bathroom and got on his knee and asked me to marry him. From then, we went ring shopping, and I found this beautiful ring. Here it is right here. I had two rings, but if y'all know me, y'all know that I lose stuff. I was at someone's house, and I was doing their hair. I took my rings off, and I left them there. I came back, they only found one. So I've been stuck with one ever since. But it's material things. I'm not a materialistic person. The Lord ultimately knows what happened and what went on. If they found it or not, that's not my problem. I will be getting an update soon. Y'all will be seeing the bigger rock on my hand, because it's nothing. Watch out for part 2, y'all. After 24, there came love, marriage, and what's after that? Y'all already know it's a baby carriage. Watch out for part 2, and let's see.
Show your baby as a newborn versus now.
Fuego.